going to start with understanding the present state. So it's very natural for us as human beings, if we've got a problem, if we've got a difficulty, it's very natural for us to become very focused on that difficulty. It's almost like our torch beam gets focused on the difficulty with the exception to anything else. Now, if you're talking to somebody and they do have a problem, it's important that you listen to it. You need to listen long enough for them to feel that they've been able to tell you what's going on for them. So it might be a friend or it might be a work-based situation. You do need to listen to that. What many of us do after that, though, is we just ask them more and more questions about how awful that problem is. So tell me more about how bad you feel. Oh, you must have felt awful about that. Tell me more about how badly that's affected you. If you do that, you just get their torch being more and more focused on the problem. One of the really nice things to do from an NLP perspective is if somebody's telling you about their present state that's negative, when they've got enough of it off their chest, is to actually ask them, when don't you feel like that? So if you ask them, when don't you feel like that, you encourage them to move their torch beam away from that troubled part and onto other aspects of their life that are actually okay. Or another way to do this is to maybe talk to the person about what percentage of the time does that problem situation happen and what percentage of the time does it not? So if you've got noisy neighbours, what percentage of the time do they make noise and what percentage of the time is it relatively quiet? If you've got problems with a colleague at work, what percentage of those times do those problems actually come to the fore? Because it won't be all of the time, because you probably won't be with them all of the time. If there's a situation that you feel uncomfortable in, what percentage of your waking week are you in that situation? Now, this doesn't discount the fact that for a percentage of the time you will feel uncomfortable, you will have that problem. What it does is it puts it into perspective. So this can be a really useful thing to do conversationally with other people, just to nudge their attention to when don't you feel like that, or what percentage of the time does it happen, not happen, or for yourself, to actually ask yourself those questions. So is it every single minute of every single day of the week that I experience that? Because in truth, most problems don't exist at 100% intensity 100% of the time, other than when we keep our torch beam on them and we keep our torch beam on the problem. And it's almost like we put a magnifying glass between our torch beam and the problem. We make it bigger than it actually is. So it can be a really nice thing to do for yourself. It can be a really nice thing to do in conversation with other people. And you might just want to give it a go. So you can pause the program shortly and think about something that's a problem in your life and ask yourself, when doesn't it occur? What percentage of the time does it occur and not occur? And just notice what sort of response you get. I won't go for the biggest problem in your life with it, but it'd be a useful thing just to get a sense of what it's like to look at the present state in more perspective. So that's the first thing, is getting perspective on whatever's going on in the present state, and especially